Welcome to Universal Medical Training Services Introduction to Cybersecurity. This is a basic course. The course is designed for students with no prior experience with computers. Students should expect mathematics lessons specifically geared to orient themselves to how data is transferred from point to point. Additionally, students will become familiar with the definitions of core principles of the basic computer. Digital devices are commonplace today. Our instruction yields better understanding of the modern computer from a historical approach. Privacy. Shh. If you're on social media, there are more people in the world that know everything going on in your life than there have ever been in previous generations. Let's discuss it. Take control. You really do owe it to yourself. After all, if you don't do it, who will? That is a true story. One day you're going to have to apply for a job, apply for a license, or who knows? Who knows where you'll end up in your life? But you can't deny the fact that there's going to be a time where your social media footprint is going to get inspected, reviewed, and even judged by others. You have to maintain your portfolio. Do not put something on social media that you don't want anyone else in the world to see. This course is designed to help you protect yourself when you interact with a digital device of any kind. If you use social media, if you use email, if you browse online and do online shopping, there are a number of things that you have to do to prevent your actions, your transactions, and everything that you do online from inadvertently ending up in the wrong set of hands. This includes anything that'll hurt or harm you, cast you or your family in a bad light. I mean, for example, your friends. If your friends post things or put things online that aren't good or things that defy or defame your own value system, why would you associate with someone who is so cavalier about their own account? You really don't have a choice. You really have to think into your future and understand that the things you're going to do later in life may be affected by the things you've done as a younger person or as a child even. That's what we're here to talk about today. Your social media portfolio, the footprint you have online, and what it says about you, and what other people might think it says about you. Let's discuss further. So what's modern internet security? You know, when you say, why do I have to secure my computer? What does that mean? You know, it's a computer, it's connected to the internet, that's all it takes, right? Well, that's the equivalent of walking into a dark alley on a street you've never seen before or you've never visited. What do you think's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? You know, you would secure anything you care about, your wallets, credit card, your home, your front door. You know, how many people leave their home without locking it? How many people just leave a bucket of money on the front lawn? Would you expect that money to be there by the time you got back? You know, it's important. It's important to think about it that way. A lot of people will laugh at you when you use that example. They laugh at me when I use that example because it sounds so ridiculous. But if you don't know anything about the internet and you just hop on and start doing things and you're not thinking about your own personal security or what you're doing or how it's going to affect you later, what then would you expect to happen if the wrong person gets a hold of that information? Or if they find something that's of value to them and they want to take it from you? So it makes perfect sense to secure your computer these days. We've already discussed how computers are used at nearly all phases of our daily lives. But do you think that malicious people out there care who you are, or care about you, or care about your family? You know, the truth is there is evil in the world, and you're going to find that computers are often the instrument of that evil. It's an anonymous profession. It's something that someone can sit 1,000 miles away from you and do anonymously whatever they want. And you'll never know, you'll be none the wiser until you go to look into your checking account, or you look at your mom's credit card that you borrowed, or your dad's credit card that you borrowed, and realize that there are a lot of purchases on there that you didn't make or authorize, and certainly your parents didn't make or authorize. So it's time to get smart about using these devices, connecting to the internet, securing these devices, and common sense about, you know, basically whatever it is that you might be doing. Even if it's just as simple as something like looking up the lyrics to your favorite song. There are people out there that know this and want to use this thing you're doing against you. Now let's discuss personally identifiable information. Essentially, personally identifiable information is your identity, PII for short. These are things that are used in information security to identify a person, to qualify a particular transaction. Amazon, for example, might use PII to make sure that you're you, so that you and Amazon don't become a victim of fraud. They would rather take measures to make sure that a purchase is made securely and properly, rather than deal with the ramifications of an inappropriate, illegal, or malicious purchase in your name. So when it comes to securing your personally identifiable information, the best defense would be a good or even great offense. Look at it that way. Here are a couple of things that we want you to consider before you sit down in front of the next device you use to access the internet. So determine the credentials of the user account of the computer. For example, if you use your friend's computer and your friend decides that they want to use an administrator account to do all their interactions on the internet, that is actually an unsafe practice. What would happen essentially if your friend's account is an administrator or administrative account, each time your friend goes online and clicks on something bad, whatever he or she touches inherits the credentials of, well, your friend. So if you try to close a pop-up and you touch it and it's a piece of bad code or a bad program, that bad program inherits your friend's right to do anything on the computer. So when that malicious program knows that it has the credentials of the user, it can start doing bad things without you knowing about it. So determine the state of the firewall. Does your friend or does the public computer you're using in the library have a firewall? Are they concerned about protection that way? Another good tip is secure wireless. You know, are you using a public Wi-Fi? Are you in a hotel? Are you at a store like Panera? You know, you have to keep these things in mind. Are they protecting their wireless? And sometimes they can't do that in order to make it available to everyone in the public. Or if they're using a password that everyone has access to, then your device could be on the same network or in the same room virtually as another device that's sniffing around looking to do something bad. Another good tip is to determine if antivirus protection is installed on the device you're using, namely in a library or at your friend's house. So it's important. The next would be to determine cookie handling. What's a cookie? It's not something you eat in a jar when it comes to digital devices. It's actually a file that'll end up being stored on your computer so that the next time you visit a website, they'll make things run faster or smoother, or they'll be able to identify the computer that you're using to access that website. So cookies are not always a good thing. As a matter of fact, sometimes they're downright evil, depending on what website you go to or who's running the website and the like. The next is determine what Web 2.0 automatic update programs are in place. For example, if you're on a computer that automatically updates certain applications on the system without you knowing about it, certain things can happen to the computer, or the computer can be exposed to the internet while you're using it and without your knowledge or permission. The next is, and really one of the most important, do not set up an email account on another person's computer. That's probably the dumbest thing you could ever do on the system. If you don't have access to that computer routinely, or you don't know anything about the security, or you can't update a antivirus program on that system, why would you ever put your personal email account on there? It's just bad practice altogether. So the next one, do not log into your personal anything on a public computer. Don't do banking. Don't look at your email unless you're sure you'll be able to secure it or prevent it from being exposed to someone else. Don't do anyone else's banking. Don't use another person's account. I mean, general purpose computers like in a library or a cyber cafe or your friend's house, they're all examples of places that might have computers that you'll never be able to prove if they've been handled or secured properly. So, and that also includes social media. You know, you never know what accounts or what things that other people have clicked on, or you'll never know the status of certain viruses unless you're maintaining that computer on your own. The bottom line is, you have to protect yourself. Cybersecurity is your responsibility.